Welcome back to our channel. Today we have an intriguing video for you. We'll be delving into the fascinating tale of Prophet Balaam, a character from the Bible who had some extraordinary experiences with God. We'll be talking about his encounters with angels, and even a donkey that could speak. Along the way, we'll also discuss the important decisions Balaam had to make. His story is packed with valuable teachings, so stick around until the end as we unravel the entire narrative and discover the timeless wisdom it contains. Without further ado, let's begin. Balaam's birth holds significant importance within the narrative of the Old Testament. According to Scripture, Balaam was born in the land of Pethor, which was situated in Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia, meaning between the rivers, referred to a region located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, renowned for its ancient civilizations and rich historical background. Balaam's birth coincided with the time when the Israelites, led by Moses, were traversing through the wilderness. The Exodus, which marked the liberation of the Israelites from slavery in Egypt, had already occurred, and they were on their way to the Promised Land. Although the Bible does not explicitly mention the exact year of Balaam's birth, scholars estimate it to be around the same period as Moses' leadership. This places Balaam's birth in the 13th century BCE during the Israelites' wandering in the wilderness. Balaam possessed a unique gift of prophecy that distinguished him as a renowned diviner who could communicate with the spiritual realm and receive messages from God. The Book of Numbers first mentions Balaam's prophetic ability when Balak, the king of Moab, sought his assistance. Balak was concerned about the increasing presence of the Israelites and feared their conquest. Balak was aware of Balaam's prophetic capabilities and believed that Balaam's curses or blessings could significantly impact the outcome of his conflict with the Israelites. Balak regarded Balaam as a powerful diviner whose words carried weight and influence. In Numbers chapter 22 verses 5 to 6, we find Balak's messengers delivering his request to Balaam. And Balak sent messengers to Balaam the son of Beor at Pethor, which is near the river in the land of the sons of his people, to call him, saying, "Look, a people has come from Egypt. See, they cover the face of the earth and are settling next to me. Now therefore please come at once, curse this people for me, for they are too mighty for me. Perhaps I shall be able to defeat them and drive them out of the land. For I know that he whom you bless is blessed, and he whom you curse is cursed." Balak's fear of the Israelites stemmed from their recent victories and the reputation they had gained as a powerful nation under Moses' leadership. Balak hoped that by having Balaam curse the Israelites, their strength and favor with God would be diminished, allowing Balak to overcome them. It is crucial to note that the Israelites were God's chosen people, and their destiny was under the protection and guidance of the Almighty. Balak's attempt to exploit Balaam's prophetic abilities to harm the Israelites would ultimately prove futile in the face of God's sovereignty. Balak's appeal to Balaam exposes the conflict and tension between the Moabites and the Israelites during that period. However, as we will discover in subsequent parts of the story, God's plan for the Israelites would ultimately prevail, leading Balaam's role to take an unexpected turn. When faced with Balak's request to curse the Israelites, Balaam turned to God for guidance. In Numbers chapter 22 verses 8 to 9, Balaam instructed Balak's messengers to stay with him overnight as he sought the Lord's counsel. And Balaam said to them, "Lodge here tonight, and I will bring back word to you, as the Lord speaks to me." So the princes of Moab stayed with Balaam. Then God came to Balaam and said, "Who are these men with you?" God initiated the conversation by inquiring about the identity of the men who had approached Balaam. Balaam explained their purpose, relaying Balak's desire to curse the Israelites. In Numbers chapter 22 verse 12, God instructed Balaam not to accompany Balak's messengers or curse the Israelites. And God said to Balaam, "You shall not go with them. You shall not curse the people, for they are blessed." God's message to Balaam made it clear that the Israelites were a blessed people and should not be subjected to curses. Balaam was forbidden from joining Balak's messengers or uttering any curses against the Israelites. Balaam faithfully conveyed God's message to Balak's messengers as stated in Numbers chapter 22 verse 13. "Go back to your own country, for the Lord has refused to let me go with you." Balak's messengers returned to Balak empty-handed, informing him that Balaam could not fulfill his request to curse the Israelites due to God's intervention. This initial encounter between Balaam and God established a crucial precedent. God clarified to Balaam that the Israelites were a blessed people who should not be harmed. Despite Balak's intentions, God's plan and protection for the Israelites would prevail. Undeterred by Balaam's initial response, Balak decided to make a second attempt to enlist his assistance. He sent more distinguished messengers to Balaam, offering him greater rewards. Tempted by the allure of these rewards, Balaam once again sought guidance from God. In Numbers chapter 22, verses 15 to 17, Balak's messengers arrived with an increased offer, enticing Balaam. Then Balak again sent princes, more numerous and more honorable than they. And they came to Balaam and said to him, "Thus says Balak the son of Zippor, please let nothing hinder you from coming to me, for I will certainly honor you greatly, and I will do whatever you say to me. Therefore please come, curse this people for me." Balaam, enticed by the allure of honor and rewards, faced the temptation to comply with Balak's request. However, he recognized the importance of seeking God's guidance once again before proceeding. In Numbers chapter 22, verse 18, Balaam replied to Balak's messengers, stating, "Even if Balak were to give me his house full of silver and gold, I could not go beyond the command of the Lord my God to do anything small or great." Balaam's response demonstrated his understanding that his actions and decisions must align with God's commandments. He acknowledged that he could not exceed the limits set by God, regardless of the rewards offered. Balaam sought God's counsel once more, and this time, God permitted him to go with the messengers. However, there was a specific condition attached to God's permission. In Numbers chapter 22, verse 20, God said to Balaam, "If the men come to call you, rise and go with them, but only the word that I speak to you that you shall do." God granted Balaam permission to go, but he was to speak only the words given to him by God. Balaam was not allowed to deviate from God's instructions or use his prophetic abilities to curse the Israelites. Instead, he was to convey solely what God revealed to him. It is important to note that God's permission for Balaam to go did not imply approval of Balaam's desires or intentions. Balaam's motives would be tested along the journey, as subsequent segments will show. As Balaam embarked on his journey to meet Balak, a remarkable event unfolded along the way. Let us explore the scriptures to discover the extraordinary encounter between Balaam, his donkey, and the angel of the Lord. In Numbers chapter 22, verses 22 to 23, we find Balaam setting out on his journey accompanied by the princes of Moab. But God was angry because he went, and the angel of the Lord took his stand in the way as an adversary against him. Now he was riding on his donkey, and his two servants were with him. Unbeknownst to Balaam, an angel of the Lord stood in his path as an adversary. However, it was the donkey that first perceived the presence of the angel. In Numbers chapter 22, verse 23, it states, "Then the donkey saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road, with his sword drawn. So the donkey turned off the road and went into the field. And Balaam struck the donkey to turn her back onto the road. The donkey's actions puzzled Balaam, who struck the donkey out of frustration, attempting to force her back onto the path. However, the donkey's resistance stemmed not from stubbornness, but from her ability to see the angel of the Lord and her attempt to avoid danger. The story continues in Numbers chapter 22, verses 25 to 27. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she pressed herself against the wall and squeezed Balaam's foot against it. So he struck her again. Then the angel of the Lord moved on ahead and stood in a narrow place, where there was no room to turn, either to the right or to the left. When the donkey saw the angel of the Lord, she lay down under Balaam, and he became angry and beat her with his staff. The angel of the Lord continued to obstruct Balaam's path, and each time the donkey saw the angel, she took evasive actions, further frustrating Balaam. Balaam's inability to see the angel led to his anger towards the donkey. Finally, in Numbers chapter 22, verses 28 to 31, we witness the climactic moment when God opens Balaam's eyes to see the angel of the Lord. Then the Lord opened the mouth of the donkey, and she said to Balaam, "What have I done to you, that you have struck me these 3 times?" And Balaam said to the donkey, because you have made a fool of me. I wish I had a sword in my hand, for then I would kill you." And the donkey said to Balaam, "Am I not your donkey, on which you have ridden all your life long to this day? Is it my habit to treat you this way?" And he said, "No." In this extraordinary turn of events, God enabled the donkey to speak, capturing Balaam's attention and emphasizing the unusual nature of the situation. The donkey questioned Balaam's treatment and reminded him of their long-standing relationship without such mistreatment. Balaam's eyes were opened, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in his path. Numbers chapter 22 verse 31 states that the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way with his drawn sword in his hand. And he bowed his head and fell flat on his face. This encounter with the angel humbled Balaam, and he immediately recognized the significance of the divine presence before him. In a submissive gesture, he bowed his head and prostrated himself on the ground. This miraculous event served as a powerful reminder of God's sovereignty and his ability to reveal his presence in unexpected ways. It also taught Balaam the importance of obedience and recognizing God's guidance. After Balaam's eventful journey, he eventually arrived in Moab and met with Balak as planned. Let's delve into the scriptures to learn about the prophetic word spoken by Balaam and how, contrary to Balak's desire for a curse, Balaam pronounced blessings upon the Israelites as directed by God. In Numbers chapter 23 verses 7 to 10, Balaam begins his first prophecy, stating, "And he took up his oracle and said, Balak, the king of Moab, has brought me from Aram, from the mountains of the east. Come, curse Jacob for me, and come, denounce Israel. How can I curse whom God has not cursed? How can I denounce whom the Lord has not denounced? For from the top of the rocks I see him, and from the hills I behold him. There, a people dwelling alone, not reckoning itself among the nations." Balaam declares that he cannot curse a people whom God has not cursed. Instead, he sees the Israelites as a unique and blessed nation, dwelling separately from other nations. This declaration disappoints Balak, who had hoped for a curse against the Israelites. In Numbers chapter 23 verses 18 to 24, Balaam delivers his second prophecy, saying, "Then he took up his oracle and said, Rise up, Balak, and hear. Listen to me, son of Zippor. God is not a man, that he should lie, nor a son of man, that he should repent. Has he said, and will he not do? Or has he spoken, and will he not make it good? Behold, I have received a command to bless. He has blessed, and I cannot reverse it. He has not observed iniquity in Jacob, nor has he seen wickedness in Israel. The Lord his God is with him, and the shout of a king is among them. God brings them out of Egypt. He has strength like a wild ox. For there is no sorcery against Jacob, nor any divination against Israel. It now must be said of Jacob and of Israel, Oh, what God has done! Look, a people rises like a lioness and lifts itself up like a lion. It shall not lie down until it devours the prey and drinks the blood of the slain. Balaam emphasizes that God does not lie or change his mind. He reiterates that he has received a command to bless the Israelites, and he cannot reverse it. Balaam acknowledges that God has not seen wickedness or iniquity in Israel, and affirms that the Lord is with them. He vividly describes the strength and victory of the Israelites, comparing them to a lioness and a lion devouring their prey. In Numbers chapter 24 verses 3 to 9, Balaam delivers his third prophecy, saying, And he took up his oracle and said, The utterance of Balaam the son of Beor, the utterance of the man whose eyes are opened, the utterance of him who hears the words of God, who sees the vision of the Almighty, who falls down, with eyes wide open. How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, your dwellings, O Israel, like valleys that stretch out, like gardens by the riverside, like aloes planted by the Lord, like cedars beside the waters. He shall pour water from his buckets, and his seed shall be in many waters. His king shall be higher than Agag, and his kingdom shall be exalted. God brings him out of Egypt. He has strength like a wild ox. He shall consume the nations, his enemies. He shall break their bones and pierce them with his arrows. He bows down, he lies down as a lion, and as a lion, who shall rouse him? In this final prophecy, Balaam praises the beauty and prosperity of the Israelites. He describes them as flourishing like valleys and gardens blessed by the Lord. Balaam prophesies that the Israelites will be victorious over their enemies, breaking their bones and piercing them with arrows. He compares them to a lion, emphasizing their strength and power. These prophecies from Balaam, despite Balak's intentions for him to curse the Israelites, turned into blessings and declarations of favor upon the chosen people of God. Balaam's words affirmed God's faithfulness to Israel and showcased his protection and provision for his people. Balaam's prophecies not only bestowed blessings upon the Israelites but also included predictions about a future great king from their nation, who would rule with justice and righteousness. As we near the end of Balaam's story, we find him mentioned later in the Bible during the Israelites' conquest of the Midianites. Balaam, who initially advised Balak to use seduction to lead the Israelites astray, meets his demise in battle. While the exact year of his death is unspecified in the Bible, let's delve into the relevant passages for more details. After Balaam's unsuccessful attempts to curse the Israelites, he returns to his own land. Numbers chapter 24, verse 25. However, as the Israelites continue their journey towards the promised land, they encounter the Midianites, who conspire against them. Following Balaam's counsel, the Midianites lead the Israelites into idolatry and sexual immorality, provoking God's anger. Numbers chapter 25, verses 1-3. In Numbers chapter 31, verses 1-8, we learn that God instructs Moses to avenge the Israelites by attacking the Midianites. Moses sends 1,000 men from each tribe, and they defeat the Midianites, slaying all the males, including the 5 kings of Midian. Balaam is among those killed. Numbers chapter 31, verse 8 specifically states, "They killed the kings of Midian along with the others, Evi, Rechem, Zur, Hur, and Reba, the 5 kings of Midian. Balaam son of Beor was also put to the sword." This verse reveals that Balaam, who advised the Midianites in their plot against the Israelites, met his end in the same battle where the Midianite kings were slain. It serves as a consequence of his actions and involvement, although the Bible does not provide precise details about the year or circumstances of Balaam's death. It indicates that he perished during the conflict between the Israelites and the Midianites. Balaam's story serves as a cautionary tale, warning of the dangers of pursuing personal gain and deviating from God's commands. Despite his initial encounters with God and knowledge of his will, Balaam ultimately succumbed to temptation, leading to his tragic demise. This concludes the comprehensive story of the prophet Balaam. From his birth and unique prophetic abilities to his encounters with God and his ultimate fate, Balaam's journey imparts lessons of obedience, faith, and aligning oneself with God's purpose. Join us next time as we explore more captivating tales from the Bible. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for inspiring content. May God abundantly bless you until then.